All right, it's been a while. This is going to be one of those. Um, I got to learn how to hold this thing or get a selfie stick or something. But anyhow, so what we're doing today, what I'm doing today, you're just along for the ride. Um, Coil pack, which is right there, and the um, oil sending unit, which when this thing is running is just puking or whizzing oil out the connector. So I got both of those to replace today. Should be fairly easy, and I am going to try and set up the camera and capture a little bit of it. We'll see. Anyhow, so still chasing down the electrical / fuel demon on this thing. So oil sending unit wasn't part of that. I don't think. It hasn't been leaking that long. I mean, I drove this thing 600 miles and it didn't use any oil. This is just something that happened since I'm back from that trip. And I think I caught it the day it started because I parked the car, left it running. When I came back out, I noticed a puddle and a drip, and it went from a puddle and a drip to a puddle and a whiz. So yeah, anyhow, I have the new sending unit here, same brand as, oh, it's still upside down. Yeah, there we go. Same brand as what they carry at Advance, O'Reilly's, AutoZone, any of those parts stores, name brand parts stores, Napa. And I know this because I've shopped all those places over the years. And so anyhow, there's that. And then I have the new coil right here. Yeah. And again, ignition and engine management solutions. So I think I'm going to do the oil sending switch first and then do that. So let me gather up some tools. I'll pause this and then I'll get started. Be back in a flash. All right, forgot one thing. Gonna pause you again. Sorry. All right, let's try that again. I am going to prop the camera above the between the AC compressor and 1 and 2 spark plugs and see if that'll give you a good vantage point. The camera's on that side. I guess we'll see when it's all said and done. Yeah, and I know I said I was going to do the oil sending unit first. So wow. Huh. Now, let's move you over and see. Okay. Sorry, that's not going to work. So it won't let me pause or unpause this. Yeah, now why did it do it this time? Okay, I was going to say it wouldn't let me pause this with the gloves on or unpause it with the gloves on. So I am going to pause you. I am going to do the oil sending unit first. So hang with me and I'll be back shortly. Okay, So the new one is on. Turn it around and see if we can get some light down there. Yep, there we go. And the camera's on that end. So there's the new one. Use some carbon choke cleaner to clean up the wire connection. And just for the record, these nitrile gloves don't like carbon choke cleaner at all. It kind of makes them all shrivel up. So anyhow, they'll self-heal when they dry, when all the chemical evaporates off. So we're gonna fire it up and see if it still leaks. So hold on just a second. All right, it's running. The oil pressure gauge is pegged, so I'm guessing they sent me the wrong one. Turn it around here. Not seeing any fluids come out. Apparently they send me the one for the idiot light, not the pressure gauge. There's two different sending units for this. One for a sending unit, one for idiot light, one for pressure gauge. Showing my pressure gauge is showing pegged. See if I can get a view of that in here. Yeah, so that's pretty much pegged. Good news is it's not leaking. So now I'm gonna shut it down and do the coil pack. And the good news is there's no leaking. Now there's no buzzing. So I can't tell if this thing has any gyro stabilization or not. Gonna run it for a while. Let me get this coil pack changed off, and then I want to have a little yak with you guys. Based on my experience with this, chasing this electrical / fuel gremlin. So let me pause you guys for a few while I change this out, and I'll be right back. Alrighty then. How many of you guys, and tell by a vote of thumbs up, have ever worked on a car and you have to take something off, and this is a service item. This isn't something that's supposed to be on there from the start of the car's life to the end of the car's life. All right, if there is any such a thing. But how many of you guys have ever had to replace or repair a service item? In this case, the coil pack on a 95. Now this is a coil pack. Let me show you. I think I've showed you before, but that's the coil pack down there. And there's two bolts that hold it to a bracket. And on the back side of that bracket are nuts. So I've got both the bolts broke loose, but it's stupid. Okay, so by show of thumbs up, how many of you guys think that engineers ought to be able, or ought to be required to perform many service items on a new vehicle before the design is approved for production? So in other words, and they don't do it this way, I know that. They don't prototype one and then, check things out on it. Most of modern day design is done in the computer, so everything is tested in the computer before it ever goes into production. But I still think it should be required for engineers to perform basic service, like replace an exhaust system, or change a wheel bearing, or better yet, change spark plugs. Some of these modern V6s mounted sideways in the front of the engine compartments, the front spark plugs are a piece of cake. The back are a flippin' nightmare. So By show of thumbs up, um, yeah, let's just see how many of you guys have ever worked on your own vehicles and you get to a certain point in the process and you gotta scratch your head, pick your wedgie out and say, what were they thinking when they designed this? So now I gotta go get ready to pull um, the bracket off, which, as you can see here, has all kinds of mounts on it. So, be back in a flash. Okay, here we are. I'm not in the shop anymore, although I do need to get cleaned up from it. So, got the new coil on, and hopefully that takes care of the problem. It's still hard to tell. I found all kinds of cracks in the oil, in the coil, in the old coil, and I'm just chilling here in my office. So I'm hoping I get a little peace and quiet tonight. So anyhow, like I said, I got the new coil on. The old coil had all kinds of cracks on it, so when it would warm up, it's leaking voltage. The new coil seems to be much better. Seems to have taken care of the problem for the most part. It still has a little bit of running rough issue, and I'm thinking that's because all the misfires and whatnot with the old coil. It'll take a little bit for the excess fuel to clear out of there. I don't know. If any of you guys have any thoughts on this, I'd really appreciate the input, and as well as the comments on whether or not. Let me just do something here. Alright, that takes a little bit of the glare off. So, don't want that in there. So, anyhow, my thoughts on this whole process chasing electrical / fuel demons. So, what have I learned from all of this? Well, my diagnostic skills need to be a little bit better. I'm rusty. Back in the day, I probably could have figured this out a lot quicker. Part of the problem was it wasn't doing it at an idle. It wasn't misfiring at an idle, as far as I could tell. Chasing those kind of demons down previously, if it has an intermittent miss at an idle, I could, just fire it up, get under the hood, and you could just, see if a plug wire was arcing out, or if it was arcing out between where the plug wire hooked onto the plug and the block, or if a plug was cracked. It was pretty easy to chase that type of thing down. It only did it when it was warm and under a load. So at an idle, it was fine. Even once it was warmed up and you just hit the gas sitting there, it was fine. It was when it was under a load that the misfire would take place. So anyhow, what I would do if I found myself in this situation again and I was trying to chase it down, to save myself some money, I would get everything right from the get-go off of Rock Auto. All the sensors, the coil pack, the throttle position sensor, anything that could have anything at all to do with the ignition system. I've already put new plugs, wires, cap, rotor, all of that stuff in it, and that cleared up the problem I was having at the time. So this is something that developed just recently. So knowing all that other stuff was new, these were things that may or may not have contributed to it. At the end of the day, going through someplace like Rock Auto, the cost is relatively inexpensive. So what killed me was the shipping on each one of these. I wanted doing it one at a time, one at a time. Well, let's try this, let's try that, and that didn't work. So let's go on to the next thing, and that didn't work. So just get it all. One shipping, boom, done, and you have all the parts. And it, when it's all said and done, you're not hurting yourself by replacing stuff, especially on a vehicle like this. It's 25 years old. All this stuff is probably original equipment anyhow. You're not hurting anything really by putting new sensors in it. In the long run, I think you're better off just doing all of that. Now, part of the problem here, it's a 95. No ODB2 port. So there's no way to really diagnose it. Now I did do the, turn the key off and on 3 times, and it did, do some trouble codes, but the trouble codes are general. It doesn't, that type of system for doing the diagnostics, putting it in its self-diagnostic mode, only gives you general things, like it's running rich, which I already knew that. The number codes that spits out are a lot harder to focus in on a very specific problem, which obviously this thing had. So, sorry, I had to sit up. Yeah, I know they were going to fix that roof before I moved in here, and they didn't. So, anyhow, that's all I got for tonight. I'm going to wrap this up, end it here now, and then upload the video. Apologize for bringing it back, not finishing it up in the garage. Tools are all put away, boxes locked up. I'm still not comfortable doing this in front of somebody else. Got to get over that, I know. Something that, daily vloggers have to get over. They have to be able to walk around with their camera, pointing their camera at yourself, talking to the camera while they're around complete strangers. And maybe that's easier. It's not so easy when you're doing it in front of a friend. Unless you're going to invite them to join the video. That's a different story. So, that's it. I will give you a progress update report when I get an opportunity to drive this. I'm on for the next couple of days, so that's going to be a while before I'm able to do that. I'm on this coming weekend. I have probably a week from today I'll have off again, so possibly see you in a week. So just I'm up to 22 subscribers last time I looked. I think that's awesome. Close to 1,500, maybe a little over 1,500 views. I appreciate all my subscribers, all my viewers. Like, subscribe, share. Trying to grow this channel. Like I said, I got plenty more to do on this thing. The videos I think are gonna slow down again until maybe next break they have here at the school, which is coming up in February. We only have 2 more before graduation in May, so it's gonna be a little harder for me to do, as many videos as I did over the break, over Christmas break, because we had 2.5 weeks break there. So anyhow, stay tuned. You'll see me in the next one, and thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking through, watching these all to the end, and you'll see me in the next one. God bless.